We're live.
Hey, aloha, everybody. Happy Halloween. Hope everybody had a safe and fun Hallows Eve.
Man, Tom, that's a great looking haircut you got there.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, I do.
You know where I went? I cheated on Jody.
Oh boy.
I went to that new Legacy barbershop.
Oh, I saw that. How'd it look? Do they need some marketing?
It was great. Like they
Really?
were really nice inside. Yeah.
Hmm.
The lady that cut my hair was really good. So
I'll have to check them out. So new business in town. I've seen them. They're in a new location. How did you find them? You just saw them?
yeah, I saw, I drive by that, and then another hairstylist I know was like, "Hey, you should check them out." The two people that opened it, they used to work at a real, at a famous barber shop over in Kahului called O'Grady's. It used to be O'Danny's or something like that before. Anyway, they ventured out on their own, so I just heard they were good. I thought, I'll give it a try. But what's really nice about it is like they shave your neck, and all around your sideburns. So they do like the warm shaving cream. Oh, it feels so good.
So I wonder if they have a pretty decent digital presence, or they could use some
I don't
help.
know. They do all their booking through an app. I kind of talked to the lady a little bit. She asked what I did, and I told her I was in marketing and that I helped the chiropractor around the way and all that stuff. But it didn't really go anywhere from there. So,
Right. And that's a pro tip to everybody watching right now. Like your next client or your next 5 clients or your next potential lead is usually a business that's really close to you, one that you frequent. Tom just got a haircut, a brand new business that just opened up in Kihei where we live. And, those are the easiest ones to get because you're going there to purchase a service from them. So you're not coming in to just sell, right? You're buying something from them. They're going to talk to you. A lot of the ice is broken with just that. So, I've picked up a handful of clients by doing it that way. And I know a lot of other people have a lot of success doing that way as well. So keep your eyes open for new businesses. Anytime you go into somewhere that, or existing businesses, ones that you go to anyway, those could be your next client.
Yeah. And I usually, when I go in and talk to those people, if they ask me what I do, I tell them. And if they seem interested, I talk to them, but I don't really try to, I don't launch into like a sales pitch or anything like that. A lot
Right.
of those are relationships that develop over time, especially if it's a business that you enjoy doing business with, right? And you get behind, you frequent them and stuff like that. A lot of times that stuff just kind of comes along. So, but yeah, that is one of the things we talk about a lot. Like start looking at businesses you frequent. Where do you go with your family? What do you do? Where do you hang out? Like looking at those places first to see what they have going on marketing wise is it's a good way in.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just do our usual welcome to the Saturday marketing jam, everybody. I'm in Colorado right now. I am in my brother's dojo.
Why do you like to go where it's cold? I don't get it.
Yeah. It's nice to switch it up. When you live in Hawaii and then you get to go to the cold for a little while and then you come back, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. It's a different thing. So
yeah, my friends always say, like, I don't know how you live in Hawaii. Like, I need the seasons. I just like the seasons too much. And I'm always like, man, I like the seasons too. That's why I live in a place that got rid of all the crappy ones.
So we got Ben Green from Connecticut. It's probably pretty cold up there right now. Ben, how's it going?
Chicago area. Janice is up in Chicago. It gets chilly up there. Hey Gary's
Janice.
France.
Whoa. France. What part of France, Gary? I used to spend a couple of summers down there. Cameron says the old high and tight.
yeah, I saw that.
Tom was an army man for Halloween. I don't know if anybody saw that, but he had a pretty awesome costume. He was he had the guns. He had the guns out. Somebody else said you're losing weight.
Oh yeah, I lost like 40 pounds.
Damn,
pretty crazy.
Hey Zachary, right now I'm in Denver, and I'll be here for a couple more days. I'm staying with my brother in Denver, and then I'm going to head over to San Diego. I'm going to meet Tom in San Diego, and we're going to mastermind with this group that we're a part of. And then potentially we could see our friend Don, who's also in San Diego. We could hopefully meet up with him for a coffee or something. And maybe Ed. Look, we've got a lot of people.
I see Ed is in San Diego too.
Yeah. So I'm going to mastermind there for about a week, and then I'm going to head back to Denver, and I'm going to be posted up here for a while, just, doing what I normally do, but doing it here. So, one of the perks of working from your computer, doing digital marketing, all that stuff, it's a pretty cool lifestyle. If you want to travel or if you just want to hang out with your family, like, you have those freedoms. And I'm actually experiencing that because I'm hanging out with my brother too. He has a kid. He's only 2, and Uncle Nick's been babysitting. And yeah, but I can see how man, it would be so difficult to have kids and a regular 9 to 5. It would be crazy. And these businesses that we build, these lifestyles that we build based off of these businesses, I mean, what an incredible thing. I mean, you already have kids, Tom, so you already, life-changing.
Well, and I've experienced it both ways, right? I mean, when I was a restaurant manager, it was a lot of hours, and it's a challenge,
Yeah.
Challenge. So I feel very fortunate that I've been able to break out of that and, get away from that. So.
Yeah. And you know what? With that, I mean, we could give credit where credit is due. We got some shout outs to a lot of people in our community that I wanted to give out. Other people that are locking down their freedom, their financial freedom, their time freedom, their freedom from the 9 to 5 grind. And, Carla, if everybody can see my screen, Carla Smith posted in our group just yesterday about her Agency Growth Machine directory website that went live this morning. And, that is her new ticket to getting businesses into her, what do we call it, Tom?
Her sphere of influence.
The sphere of influence. Having this reason to talk to business owners and bring them into your pipeline is a, super powerful way that we've been growing and building our businesses. We have a ton of people that are also doing this. So we just wanted to give Carla a quick shout out because, we know that she's been working so hard, and, it shows.
Yeah, well, that site looked great. And Carla, she already had a little bit of momentum going because she had started a local business Facebook group in her area, right? Like, a lot of times when we think about things like Facebook groups and stuff like that, like, we think they need to be these big, everybody has that kind of gleam for the national, known everywhere kind of groups. But, we've been saying this for a while, like, you can be very successful just focusing on a small, tight area, and so Carla had started this kind of like local business Facebook group that she had going, and she had, she was getting members in there, and people would talk about, helping local businesses and things like that. And it kind of sets her up as an expert, as somebody who put that together. And so she just combined that with the Agency Growth Machine website. So now she has this site where she can list all these local businesses and post things about the community. And it adds another dimension to her Facebook group, because she was able to go in and give all those people in that group free listings, right? And really kind of just grows her positioning and her brand. And that's really what it's all about, right? And it gives you a real nice kind of non-salesy way to talk to people, because, you have this community thing going, and that's what you're doing, right? And, the more I get involved in this, and the more I kind of look around and see things that are successful, it's like, the more I realize that, being a part, especially if you're going to service local businesses, like, being a part of your community can be a key foundation part of that. And, you can do other things as well. Like, I like to go to different fundraisers and support different initiatives in the community. And I found a lot of clients that way, just by going to these events. A lot of businesses, that's a part of their business strategy, is to donate to community organizations and nonprofits and things like that. And so going to those kinds of events usually puts you around a lot of other business owners with similar goals, and, just trying to make it right. And they tend to be pretty open. So
Tom told me a funny story about when he went to a career day to his daughter's school. Was that last week?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They asked me to come speak at Career Day.
So what
Yeah.
happened? Can you give us the?
Oh yeah. So I would tell them about what we did and all the stuff. And this one, I was like, "Are there any questions?" This little girl is like, raises her hand. I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "Are you rich?" Like,
Kids.
no. Yeah. I was like, "No, I am not rich."
That's funny.
Yeah.
So a couple more shout outs real quick. There's Carla. We also had Miles, who jumped into the Path to Six Figures Shark Alliance. He's level 1. He did his level 1 requirements, posted in the Offline Sharks group. Journey in progress, level 1 baby shark in the gray suit, caught and in the best
Nick,
net.
you kind of froze a little.
Oh, you got me?
Nick's having some technical difficulties. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not.
I can hear you. I think it's just the live.
Can somebody put in the comments? Can you guys hear Nick? Can you hear me? What's happening? I don't know if it's on Nick's end or my end.
I can see and hear everything fine. Yeah, I think it's yours, Tom.
Okay.
You got me?
Yeah, you're kind of cutting in and out on my side, but it sounds like it's good for them, so that's good.
Okay, cool. Well, so yeah, let me just run through the rest of these shout outs real quick. So Miles, good job, sir. I love that you're jumping in with the program. Keep the momentum going. We also had Anju, completed level 1 and 2 in the same day. So off to that 6-figure journey. Congratulations there. And also Dennis. Dennis jumped in the other day and he's already at level 3. So he's now building his prospect list in his local area. He didn't realize that he knew about his perfect prospect until he got started on profiling, and that made it really easy to put together a list of prospects. So, that's what we do in the Path to Six Figures, the Shark Alliance. Level 3 is all about building your ideal prospect hit list so you can go out and get those clients. But good job, everybody. It takes a lot of effort to build and learn things behind the scenes of what you've got going on in your everyday regular life, right? Like the 9 to 5. I mean, this is for a lot of people something that they have to take action for or in outside of what they're already doing. So I know that can be difficult. And every time that I see somebody in our communities just kind of moving forward and hitting the ground running, I think that, that's awesome. So we just want to give you all shout outs whenever you guys do that. So make sure you post your wins in the group, right? You post your wins, you post your failures, you post your questions, any of that stuff, because, we want to be a part of that. I've seen a lot of people jumping in, even on these wins, like asking questions. How are you doing it? What was working for you? How did you get to the next level? And that's the kind of stuff that really helps people to progress, right? It's like the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, a good thing to keep in mind too is remember, like we often have that quote from Bill Gates of how people really underestimate what they can do in a short amount of time and underestimate what they can do in a long amount of time and overestimate what they can do in a short amount of time. So, when you're building a business and you're doing these kinds of things, it's the long haul, right? So the key is to continue to make progress, to continue to develop your fundamentals, to continue to prospect, right? Like prospecting, that's the revenue producing activity that we always talk about. Like we want to be focused on revenue producing activities. And for us as digital agency owners, that's prospecting. So, seeing how you can do that and all that stuff, it may at the time not seem like you're getting anywhere, but it is a step forward and it does move you closer to what you're doing. I've actually been, one of the things I've been thinking about the Shark Alliance a lot is I've been reading this book called Range. And, one of the things they talk about in there is, in today's society, we really have this this idea that we need to specialize, right? That people, if you're going to be really good at a sport, you got to start young, specialize, and just practice, 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 right? It's kind of that 10,000 hour rule. And, you know, the argument that he puts forth in the book is that that's not the best way. Like, it's a small handful of people that get to success that way. The majority of people get there by generalizing early on and trying a lot of different things, and they don't really start to specialize until later in life. And I think that relates a lot to digital agency marketing, because, you know, a lot of times when we're just starting out, like, we're just trying to get our foundation, our standing, right? We don't really know what services are going to connect, what services will connect with, you know. So I think it's really good in the beginning to try a lot of different things, you know. And when I look back on my experience, like, that's kind of what I did. Like, I tried a lot of different stuff going along, you know, and some of those things didn't work out, and then some of them worked out really well. And I was like, oh, I like this. This is a good service. I got traction with it. And then I was able to focus in and really grow those things out. So I don't think for those of you that are out there that are just trying to kind of find your balance, right? Don't feel bad about that. Like, that is a way to be successful. Like, trying different things, trying different prospecting methods, trying different services to offer until you find something that just fits not only with you, but with the prospects you're reaching out to and the market you're in, all that kind of stuff. So I know a lot of people talk about that, but I think that's something that's worth keeping in mind, that, you know, it's okay to do those things. Like, those things can help move you forward.
Yeah, that's solid advice. I mean, I would totally agree. I didn't, you know, when I got into this too, I didn't get into it because I was passionate about SEO, right? Like, I generalized, and I tried a bunch of different things, and I found something that worked for me. You know, it worked for my skill set. It worked for what I was interested in. And I started producing results, which got me excited, which got me more passionate, which got me into that idea about really specializing into it, you know. But I wasn't like, when I grew up, I want to be an SEO, you know, that just didn't happen. Right.
Yeah.
So, somebody else, I can't see or not that one. Let's see here. Somebody else, they're not logged into our streaming platform, but they only need 3 more clients, and they're going to be on level 8, which level 8 is all about outsourcing your work so you can scale your business. So whoever you are, I can't see your name. Maybe you can put your name in the comments below, but that is a super exciting level to be in. I know that, you know, outsourcing the work was totally life-changing for both Tom and I and a lot of the students in our community. And, you know, in level 8, we're going to show you exactly how to do that. So congratulations on that. So I had a couple of questions that came through that I wanted to address on this live for everybody. But one thing I wanted to ask everybody just to kind of get started is just, which is a question we asked our last live. And I wanted to bring it up again because I wanted to see if there was any new activity going on in the group. So if you could put in the comments below, how many business owners or leads did you contact or speak with this week? I think it would be a good idea to kind of keep this question on the surface, because this is the underlying question, right? Without business owners or leads coming in, we're not producing revenue. We're not building and growing our business to where we want it to go. So, you know, let us know in the comments. If you haven't contacted any, maybe you could put in the comments why you haven't contacted any. And, you know, we can give some acknowledgement there as well.
Yeah, hopefully, you know, hopefully you guys can just make that shift of where it's like, we just do this, right? Like, we talked, I think, a little bit about this last week. Like, there's so many things about prospecting that you can't control, you know, but the one thing you can control is how much you do it. You know, how many business owners you reach out to each day, each week, each month, each year. That's something that's definitely in your control. And so you want to do that. Eric says 8 businesses owners tackled this week. Nice,
Eric.
Yeah, and you don't need big numbers to, you know, to make this work. I see somebody said 7. Michael said 0. Thanks for your honesty, Michael. Let's see. Bones says lead prospecting follow-up. Yep, he's using Excel to stay organized. Awesome.
So that's a good question. Bones, what do we use so no leads get missed? It really depends how you're prospecting, right? If you're using one of our lead tools, one of the softwares we've built like Shark Leads, or even if you're building a list through the automated lead importer of your influencer website, usually we have like a CSV export where we export all of our leads into an Excel sheet, which it sounds like you're doing. So you can also put that in a Google sheet or whatever, share it with your outsourcers. That helps sometimes too. But yeah, whenever you get any sort of touch with the client, like, or the lead, they call you, you call them, they respond to an email, you get email tracking, just get in the system of updating your spreadsheet, right? You just kind of got to be meticulous about it, especially when you're just getting going. You want to write down in that line item next to that lead, they followed up, they don't want it, how much you pitched them at, and they didn't take it, or maybe they did take it or whatever. Like, you're just gathering that data and putting it together in your prospecting hit list. And, you really just got to stay meticulous with it.
Yeah. You could even try highlighting ones that need attention, right? Yeah. And then periodically each week, go back through your entire list again, just to see, okay, is there anybody I missed, anybody that fell through the cracks that I wasn't able to get to? That way you can do that as well. I see Tammy Kern. She got 2 this week. 1 purchased a website. Way to go, Tammy.
Yeah, Tammy, that's awesome. Congratulations. Love to hear about the sale.
Let's see. Tony said 7 phone calls after 30 emails sent out. Intent is to call and follow up till I get to yes. 1 call is not enough. That's right, Tony. And the other thing too is, like, it's not necessarily about getting to yes. Like, not everybody is going to purchase, right? But really where you want to get with a lead is you want to get to either a yes or a definite no. It's just having them in limbo is that kind of like gray area where you just don't know what's going on and can sap a lot of your time, right? So, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to a business owner and then telling you no. That's actually a good thing, because now you don't need to waste any more energy on that business right now. You can move to the next person in your list, the next person that seems interested, and keep going. And so I think when you're doing those kinds of things, like, one of the tactics that we use is what we call a close your file follow-up. So if you followed up with a business, several times, and it's just, they keep brushing off or not responding or whatever it is, then we'll send them a message either through, direct messaging or an email or something like that, where it's like, hey, I've reached out to you several times. I think what we're doing could be a good fit for your business. I really need, to talk to you to understand whether it is or isn't. I think we'd be a good fit. But I mean, if you're not interested, I just want to close your file so we don't have to keep doing this back and forth. So, do you want me to close your file and not contact you anymore? Or do you think this is something you may be interested in, that we could set up a quick 15, 20-minute call and just see if it's a good fit? And if it's not, no big deal. That's a pretty good tactic to get to that place after you follow up, some, and it's just kind of, you just don't want to leave them in limbo, right?
So I think Tim Gregory was the guy on level 8. So congrats, Tim. That's awesome. Keep us posted.
Yeah, awesome, Tim. I see Michael says it's a slow process for me. Michael, it's a slow process for everybody. Yeah. It always feels like a slow process to me. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't speak for everyone, but it definitely can feel that way.
It can at times. I feel like sometimes the way it works is like, it ebbs and flows, right? There are times where, and to be honest, this time of year is really a time where it's really flowing, in my opinion, or it's in my experience. Like, this time of year, people are, like I mentioned in the last live, trying to offload those marketing budgets. People are reaching out to marketing companies, and they're like, how can we spend money with you so they can pay less taxes to grow their business for next year, anticipate next year or the holiday season. So, this is one of those times where the more you can put yourself out there, the more you can position yourself to get a lot of that flow, and I think a lot of times the work that we do, like, we do a lot of work and it doesn't come in tomorrow, but it starts to build up over time, right? There's a little bit of sacrifice difficult work that we want to put in today for a little bit of a later delay in having success or traction. There's some delay. Did I say that right, Tom? You agree with that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because one of the things that that I think is good to know is like what you're doing today. Like when you're in a sales and prospecting process, like what you're doing today is probably going to pay off 30 days from now, right? There can be this kind of 30-day window, just the ebb and flow of a sale and closing a deal and those kinds of things. So, what you're doing today is going to start to pay off down the road. And where people get into trouble is when things start to pay off, they let up on the prospecting, right? Well, when you do that, now you got to think you won't feel the effects right away. And I know this from personal experience. You don't feel the effects of that right off the bat. And that's why you don't really notice it, or you don't even think about it like, oh, well, I'm not really doing a lot of outreach because you got a lot of stuff going on, right? And then all of a sudden 30 days rolls around and you're like, oh, crap, this isn't good. Like I need to get some things going. So just remember, again, it's not a short-term thing. Like what you're doing today is setting things up that are going to happen, 15, 20, 30 days from now. And even when things are really good, that's why you want to keep that momentum going, because those are the things that are going to start to pay off down the road. And then pretty soon you're just steadily busy.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Janice had a question here about what's a good email tracker, opens and clicks, that can be put into the email if the system does not provide that. So both Tom and I use different email tracking systems or softwares. Tom uses Google Chrome, right? And I use iMac or MacMail. So the mail platform that comes with your MacBook or your iMac. And the tool that I use is called Mail Butler. And the tool, are you still using Mixmax, Tom?
Yeah, I'm still using Mixmax. You can use things like Google's Boomerang does that same thing too. I think it will show you whether people open and that's really what you want, right? Like you really want to be able to see that somebody opened your email and read it, yeah. So you know whether they're, looking at it or not looking at it, especially if you're sending out things like proposals and stuff like that.
It's funny. I actually just used my email tracking on it's kind of messed up, but a friend that moved away that I was like, hey, how's it going? Are you still alive? And they didn't say anything. And then like next month I sent them a message. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And then they opened it, but they didn't say anything. And I was like, well, I sent them an email. I'm like, I know you got my email because I saw you opened it, but for whatever reason, I guess you're busy. And then they responded. They're like, hey, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And, they got back to me. So,
yeah, I've done that before too. I'm like, I've sent an email and been like, hey, I can see you're opening my emails.
Yeah.
You're not responding. What's up? And then the person, you're like, first, that's kind of scary.
Yeah. That's a little weird, Nick.
Tim says he uses Yesware. I used Yesware before Mixmax, Tim, and it is good too. Yesware is good as well.
Eric had a good strategy. He uses the formula goal. He just hits 3 business owners per day and has a touch goal of 15 touches per week.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, again, you don't have to be, as long as you stay consistent, right? Like consistency is the key. And as long as you stay consistent, you don't have to do a lot every day, but it builds up over time,
It does. And another thing too, like that's one of the reasons why I kind of fell in love with SEO is it's the same thing, right? I'll do a lot of SEO to my agency site today, but it'll take a long time to see the effects of what that work has done, right? Like my website won't jump to #1 for website design tomorrow from the work that I do today. It takes time, it's an investment, but the payoff is a little different with SEO, right? Because you're doing it to get more real estate in Google, and if you do it well, you have this asset that you're building that will, sit at the top of Google and bring in people on an ongoing basis. So you don't have to put yourself out there every time. You just have to put yourself out there enough in the beginning to get yourself some traction, get yourself up there. And, I don't want to say be lazy once you're up there, but you could theoretically, because you're up there and people will start calling you. But that's one of the perks of getting into like SEO and starting to rank your own site is, you know, you have this ability to get yourself in front of people who are interested in your products or services, and you don't really have to be meeting them face to face if you do it this way. So, you know, if you're not doing any SEO yet for yourself, you should do at a bare minimum, do a little bit for yourself, because it takes time, right? It's just like prospecting, you know, over time in the next 3 to 6 months, like, hey, you'll wish that you would have put that line in the water, you know, because, you know, it'll just benefit you in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, there's long-term, you know, there's some strategies you do longer term, and then there's things you can do in the shorter term to keep going, right? Like, that's why it's good also to combine a lot of different things that you're doing. You know, don't just rely on one prospecting method. It's good to, you know, work on SEO for your agency site, but also maybe hit some networking events, or, you know, do some social media direct messaging, or, you know, whatever that looks like for you, just whatever you can do. Consistency, you know. I found it was the same thing with losing the weight. Like, I had to find something that I could stay consistent with.
Mm-hmm.
If I could stay consistent with it, then I'm pretty good.
Yeah. So let's do a quick little giveaway, just because I just realized we haven't done that yet. Let's ask a question. So let's see. Free Amazon gift card.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so to get this Amazon gift card, you have a good question, Tom? I have a decent question.
Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay. So as you know, a lot of you know, we were just talking about different prospecting methods, right? Stuff that you know, we have had success with sometimes no success, sometimes good success. I like to do a lot of SEO. Tom is fantastic at doing networking events. In fact, he has a event that is probably his favorite, and I know that we've touched on this 5,000 times in a lot of our trainings and all that. So if you could put in the comments below which event, is that the right word for it? Which networking event is Tom's favorite, or has he had most success
networking
with?
Group has to be another way, yeah. Which networking group?
There you go.
That's a good one. Yeah, I got it. I see Michael in there first.
Michael got it.
Michael Parada, BNI. That's right. Yeah.
You know what?
BNI.
I think that was a tie. I think we have to.
Oh yeah. Yep. I see Janice is in there first now.
Michael and Janice. So if you guys could, Cameron, could you reach out to them and get your
weekly tuna barbecue?
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
If you guys could go to offlinesharks.com/support Janice and Michael, and hit the claim a bonus button on that page and send us a ticket, and we will get you your Amazon gift cards. And thanks for always hanging out with us. You know, both of you. I know you're both always in all of our events, hanging out with us, engaging in all of our, you know, activity, asking questions, putting comments in, and we really appreciate that. So Karina just joined the BNI group, which is awesome.
Yeah. I hope it does well for you. I found a lot of success in it. Like I went to a lot of free networking events, and I just found that the people in the paid groups were a little more serious, but that's not always the case.
Karina, what do you have a service? Because you have to pick a service, right? Karina or Tom, you have to pick a service that you're going to be the person of within that group. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So BNI, like their thing is they allow one business type in each group. So like a group can only have one website person. They can only have, one of the nice things about being a digital marketing provider though, is that, you know, like when I joined that group, the website spot was taken, but they didn't have anybody in social media. So I just joined as a social media person. And then eventually the website person left and I took that spot over. So, they just allow one from each business type. So there's only one real estate agent, that type of thing, just to, to keep it so that you're not really competing against each other. So yeah, their big saying is givers gain, which I like too. The guy, Ivan Meisner, the guy that started all that, he actually came to Maui and visited.
Really?
Yeah, he came and gave a talk. I went over to the EL Theater and listened to him do a business talk, and then got to talk to him afterwards. And surprise, he's an amateur magician.
Wow.
So we got to talk magic for a little bit and business.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty funny. Small world.
So Karina chose digital marketing. That's pretty cool because, I mean, that is a huge array of skills that you can offer to these businesses, right? And so when you do your weekly commercial, I mean, you have so much to talk about, so many new and different things and ways to capture business from that audience. So great choice.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting too about BNI is like those BNI profiles, like they have a BNI website where they put all the members. Those things show up in the search results.
They do?
Yeah, like if you Google BNI, like you'll see the BNI member profiles and stuff like that. So they show up. So it can be good if you're doing SEO or things like that, having a profile like that as well.
Interesting. Another question that I had got that I wanted to touch on this live was from Shane or Shannon. Some of you know him as Shannon. He asked if we had any success running local Facebook ads offering web design and SEO services for our own business. And it's a really good question because we always prospect and offer to sell SEO and web design and Facebook ads, right, for businesses, but a lot of people don't do them for themselves. And I know I was guilty of that for a long time, actually. I really was. And it was just, I think it was because I just didn't want to invest the actual money into it, but I got over that. I got over that. And so, yeah, I do run advertising, but I run retargeting advertising. So, and that's what I run consistently, right? Like I will always have, at the very minimum, retargeting pixel traffic from my website showing ads for web design and SEO. I will always have that. And the reason is because it's so cheap to run, right? Like it's like pennies to show these ads to people who are already very interested in your business. So, these aren't just like totally random people. It's not cold traffic. And it's good to just put your brand right in front of them again, especially because if they haven't even talked to you and they see your ads, they're like, wow, this guy's he's pretty top notch. He knows how to do that. I was just at this guy's website. It definitely leaves an impression on them. And, that's an easy way to get yourself back in front of people who are already interested. So at the very minimum, I think you should be running those types of ads. And in the more aggressive way to do it is like, whenever you want to have some sort of a special or like a promotional thing, I would then run ads. You always want to have give people a reason to click on your ads. And if you do a holiday special or a new service or a discount or whatever, that will give people a real reason to want to purchase or pick up your services.
Yeah, that's a great question, Shane. I know one of the things we talked about maybe doing on this live call was I read a lot. I read a ton of marketing.
All those books.
Yeah. So I don't know. These are some of them are behind me. So I don't know if you guys would be interested in knowing different things that I'm reading or looking at or things that I found interesting. But I have a couple close by. Maybe I'll just make a couple recommends.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
One of them is because I know I really struggle with, I'm not a salesy type. I don't want to do a lot of high pressure sales and stuff. So I'm always interested in books and things that are about negotiation closing deals and things like that. And this was a good one by a guy named Chris Voss, and it's called Never Split the Difference. Negotiating as if your life depended on it. And don't let the title scare. It's actually really good. This guy was he's the guy that, like, when there's a hostage situation, they call him in to negotiate the release of the hostages and end the situation peacefully. And so this whole book is about tactics and things they use, and a lot of them can be applied to what you do, even though the stakes aren't that high. But this was a really good book, Never Split the Difference. And then another one I just mentioned was, there's a couple that I'm reading right now. One is, this really isn't a marketing book, but it's got a lot of good things that you can apply to marketing in it, and it's called Range. If you can see that here, if I can get in the thing. And it's by David Epstein, and it's Why Generalists Triumph in a Specialized World. So this is a really interesting book. I'm still reading this one, so that's a really good one. And then another one I picked up that I'm reading as well is called The Infinite Game, and I forget the guy's name. It's the same guy that wrote Start With Why. I don't have it here. It's next to my bed because I've been reading it at night. But it's called The Infinite Game, and it's really kind of what we were talking about earlier about adjusting your business mindset and strategy, like how a lot of people talk about, businesses win or winning, and how business is really an infinite game. It's not you have finite games like football, which is, we know the players, we know the rules. There's a set amount of time, and at the end of that time, whoever has the most points wins, right? That's a finite game, and there are certain ways you play a finite game, and then there are infinite games where you don't always know who all is playing. You don't always know how long it's going to take. There's a lot of variables involved, and so the infinite game is really about strategies on how you approach games like that. And business is a game, right? Like, we keep score, but there's really no end to what you're doing. And I find that idea fascinating. I've only read a couple chapters of the book, so I don't know how good it's going to be yet, but that idea of shifting my mindset from this finite thing of like, if I can just get, an example would be like when I thought, if I can just get to six figures, I won. Just get to six figures and I won, and that's not how I felt when I got there. Right. So, and that's because I was looking at it like a finite game, right? And it's really not a finite game. And so those are three books that I think, if you guys want to check something out, are pretty interesting. Awesome. Simon Sinek, that's the guy. Yeah, came and put him in. Simon Sinek, that's who wrote it. The Infinite Game. He had Start With Why is one, and then he had another one like about leaders, and then he's got this one.
Somebody asked us, how long did it take you to read and understand breakthrough? I think he's saying about breakthrough advertising, right, Tom? Tom actually has where's it at, Tom? Where's the Holy Grail?
No, where is that book? Oh, right here.
Check this out, Carl.
Oh, this is a very rare first edition, I think. Yeah. It was interesting when I read Breakthrough Marketing because, everybody always talks about this book, but a lot of the things in here you've probably experienced and heard other people talk about, right? And I think for me, what was really and you can get this book like in digital format, I think, online. But the interesting thing to me about this book, which is more about direct marketing and copywriting, is the idea that you have to approach different prospects differently, right? Like you have this book is where all that stuff comes from about warm, hot, warm, and cold leads, and how your marketing message has to adjust depending on their awareness of what you're doing. So I think that's really interesting in here. I need to go back and read this again.
Can you hold it up real quick? So breakthrough advertising, right? Yeah.
Yeah, breakthrough advertising. I read a lot of copywriting books and direct marketing books, which I think is a really great thing for anybody doing what we do to do, because a lot of the strategies and principles are things that you'll apply to local businesses. This one's kind of considered a classic. I have that whole, well, you can't really see the top shelf, but I have a whole shelf of just copywriting type books and things that are really good. I think Scientific Advertising is another really good one.
Tom's office is actually 4 walls of books. He's sitting in the library. So whenever you think of Tom, just imagine him in a speakeasy room of books.
The thing though is reading them and then applying what you learn, right?
Right.
Like I spend a long time just reading and not doing anything. That's not
about that. You have a lot of really good ideas that come from books, though. I mean, very often we're talking in kind of strategy brainstorming session, and you have a lot of topics that come up that are like, I was reading this book last night, and so we act and execute on a lot of that stuff too. So, I mean, books help.
Today that's that way. I think I feel like when you're doing these kinds of things, like you need to be constantly looking around for different ideas, different strategies. What have others have done that have worked, right? And I think books are a way to get that info. But
yeah, and this is actually a key element here, especially when it comes to digital marketing, because so many new things are coming out all the time, right? Like Facebook will allow you to retarget pixel traffic, right? That's not actually that old. So to stay relevant and to be a key player in the market, you need to stay relevant. You need to stay relevant with what's happening, what changes have happened in the marketplace, these popular platforms, and how you can deliver value to your customers and business owners in your area, right? Like that will allow you to create your own market as well whenever something new comes out, right? Like not a lot of people where we're at are offering retargeting services like we're offering retargeting services, right? So we're almost in a market of our own because of that. So we're constantly just in this space of consuming information is really what it's about.
Well, and a lot of especially the direct marketing books and the copywriting book, like the underlying thing on a lot of them is that the people that are really successful at that stuff are able to put themselves in their prospect's shoes, right? And so reading a lot of that stuff shows me ways to do that. Like, there's ways that I can get into that. One is by doing some competition research. Other ways is by doing market research on the people I'm targeting. Pardon me, but like constantly thinking about what you're doing and thinking like, okay, like you write that prospecting email, right? And you're getting ready to send it out. Now stop and ask yourself like, okay, what is this person going to think when they get this email and read it? Like, what would my reaction be if I didn't know anything about this? Like, what would be my questions? What things would I want to know the answer to? And then that will usually give you some idea of just where to start, right? And then based on your feedback, you can adjust that way. I think another book that's really a must read for anybody that's doing digital agency stuff is, where is this one? This book by Al Ries and what's the other guy? Jack Trout, Positioning. The battle for your mind. This is really a must read.
Yeah, that's a really good book.
Yeah, another one of those kind of classic marketing books, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
That's it. That's enough.
Okay, that's enough. I have to cut Tom off.
Yeah.
Well, we've been on here for, almost an hour, so I think, it's time to start wrapping it up anyway. One thing I did want to bring up in the last 10 minutes is just, about the shout outs that we started with, right? We have a lot of people that have recently jumped into the Path to Six Figures and the Shark Alliance, which is our monthly mentorship program. Everybody, if you're not familiar with it, that's what it is. And we actually have opened it for the first time publicly for, I don't know, how long has it been?
I know it's been a while. We're not very consistent on when we open it, but
yeah,
it's open right now for today. I think it's stuff.
So there's probably about 12 hours left for this, special promotion of the Shark Alliance and the Path to Six Figures. You can actually get in right now for $1. Where's my camera? $1. And, I just wanted to touch on that real quick because, I think it's the best membership out there in terms of holding you accountable, getting you everything that you need to be successful, and like I just said, holding you accountable to being successful, because that's what so many people are missing when it comes to, you know, moonlighting this digital marketing thing, or working from home if they have, you know, not a lot of accountability. That's what we've built into our membership that has really helped people to be so much more successful than others. And what I mean by that, I'm going to share some of that, how we've done that with you real quick. Let me pull my screen here.
You're one of those people that's been like, man, I just really want something that's step by step, right? Like that's really what the Path to Six Figures does. And
Right.
It's really just a step by step process of the process that we went through and everybody goes through to build a digital agency, right?
Right. So this is the Path to Six Figures, everybody. These are the 12 levels that are included in the Path to Six Figures. And you can see from those shout outs that, let's see if I can pull one of those back up. Miles, for example, he just completed level 1 Baby Shark. And one of the ways that we celebrate is we post in our Facebook group about completing that level. And oftentimes in the other levels, we are required to share some things with the other members of how we were successful to get to the next level. So we help each other continue to climb the ranks, right? And the whole philosophy behind the Path to Six Figures is we want to take people that are just getting started, level 1, have no clients, maybe you have 1 or 2 clients, or just scratch the surface, to building a full 6-figure income. So in level 1, you've got not anything going on, and level 12, you have verified actually getting 6 figures this year. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, and we have people that have done that, and then they hang out in the groups and share their experience and what they're doing with other people. And you know, each level is kind of like self-contained. You know, they're not like, we've broken everything down in bite-sized digestible chunks. So you're not going to spend a ton of time on each level, but each level builds on it, and then eventually you get to that point of where you have all your foundation stuff in place pretty quickly, and you can start prospecting, because that's the goal, to get to prospecting as fast as possible.
Right. And you know, we give you everything you need in this path, right? Like, I'm going to just kind of run through some of this really quick, but like level 1 is all about getting indoctrinated and started with the community, how to use our tools, how to get everything set up. So once you complete what we ask that you complete, you submit to our team and ask that we verify that you've completed everything to go to the next level. And once we verify it, we advance you to the next level. And in level 2, we have you set up your agency, right? So we get your website going. There's a whole list of things that you need to do in order to set up your agency properly that Tom and I have discovered while setting up our agencies properly. And so we ask that you do those same things, and we show you how to do those same things. And then we ask you to verify with us that you've done those things. So once you've done everything, then we advance you to the next level. And in level 3, you can see here, it's all about identifying your perfect prospect and the people that you are going to bring in to your sphere of influence to start paying you money. And so once you have those people, you have your perfect avatar set up, it's so much easier to bring them to your business. So that's what level 3 is. Level 4 is how you pick your services that you're going to fulfill. And we actually give you all of those services. So in this level, we have a few of our softwares that we give you included in our membership. Some of the softwares we've never sold. They're just private access, just to our Path to Six Figures members. So we also give you everything you need to do in order to fulfill those services, so that you don't have to spend the time fulfilling them yourself. So we give you our outsourcers. We teach you how to hire outsourcers. Everything that you would do as a 6-figure agency owner, we teach you how to do that. So again, you're going to have to do those things. We show you how to do those things, and then we verify that you've done those things. So what people often do is they get information and they sit on it, or they get half of the information, or they get information that's not relevant, it's not fresh, or it's from somebody who's never done it themselves. I can tell you right now that everything that is on this screen is all built off of stuff that both Tom and I have done in order to take our agencies to 6 figures. So it's all real world stuff. And we we don't hold anything back, right? Like, we want our people to be successful. We have a ton of people that have been successful with this as well. And I think our stats are really starting to shine in the path to six figures, don't you, Tom?
Yeah. I mean, lots of people having success, and I think there's some hidden gems in there that you just won't find other places. Like, I know early on, I don't know if it's in level 1, it might be level 2. I think we talk about pricing, and I don't hear anyone else talking about pricing the way that we talk about pricing. And that is that most people, when they talk about what you charge for services, they just give you this cookie cutter number. Like, hey, here's a service, you can charge $500 for this, or you can charge $700 for that. And pricing doesn't work that way, or effective pricing doesn't work that way. Like, there's a lot of things that go into it. And there's actually a downside. There's a downside to having a set price for a service as a digital agency or a consultant, because you can get roped into a job that takes a lot more hours than you thought, and now you're way under pricing, right? And so in that pricing section, we talk about the different ways you can structure your pricing. And there's really kind of the scale. Oh, sorry, hit my microphone there. There's really kind of this scale. On one side, you've got where you, the consultant, assumes all the risk. And that is like, okay, I charge $1,500 for a website. When you do that, you're assuming the risk because you don't know anything about how complicated the website is, right? If you just have a blanket price. So on the other end of the scale is where the client assumes the risk, which would be like an expenses, they pay expenses plus an hourly rate. So somewhere on that scale, there's a kind of like a sweet spot for where, you're not taking all the risk, they're not taking all the risk, but it works for you. So that's one thing we talk about in there that you don't hear a lot of places. And the other part too is just, we have some worksheets and tools in there so that you can set your pricing for your specific situation, based on your financial goals, based on how much money you need each month to survive. And that's really key to that. So, those are just a couple of things like that. Like Nick said, that's the kind of real world stuff. Like somebody just telling you, yeah, you can charge $500 for this service. Like that may or may not allow you to build a successful business. Like your situation may be different. And, my monthly expenses are probably different from yours, and they're different from Nick. So being able to determine your pricing so that it's competitive and helps you get to where you want to go is one of those foundational key things that I think we're kind of the only people out there talking about it that way. Most people just try to show you a shortcut way, and that's not the best way to do it.
Yeah. And, there's so much information and awesome and valuable stuff that goes into this community, the Path to Six Figures and the Shark Alliance. If you go to the link, you'll see that we actually had a, almost 2-hour live training. We recorded it where we go into detail on what's all included. So if you go to that link, watch the video, you'll see everything that's included and a lot more. You'll probably get a lot more information. We talk about some things that are really insightful as well to just building your business. If nothing else, just go there to watch the replay because you'll get a lot of information off of that by itself. And, there's a button on the page and you can get in for $1 for 7 days and you can try it out. If you like it, you can stay. If you don't like it, you can cancel at any time. So there's really no risk to trying it out. And it's going to be available for, I think, another 6 hours or so. So, if you've ever been sitting on the fence to the Shark Alliance and you're wondering when we're going to open it up again for the next, 6 hours, you can get in for $1. And
yeah, well, and as the thing grows, like, it's always like, the more and more stuff gets in there. So now's a good time to get in because we never know what it's going to be like with pricing and stuff in the future. And even like Nick said, just watching that training on the 3 roadblocks that that can stop you from having a successful agency and how to overcome them. That's really great training that can help get your mindset right on what you need to do to be successful with this.
Yeah. So, with that, I think, let's close down the live. I got some more babysitting to do. I've heard the little monster going crazy in the background. So
building website.
I know I'm gonna get him to build a website. His brother is he's really into computers as well. So, or his father, my brother, is really into computers. So it's only a matter of time. It's gonna happen. You know, it's gonna happen. But you know, we've got a ton of people hanging out with us. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us. It's been a lot of fun. You guys have put so many awesome comments and questions and interacted with us. We're going to continue to do this live week after week. I think it's a great way to connect with you all and just kind of offload what's going on. And so if that sounds good, you know, let us know in the comments. We'd love to see your feedback on you know, what you thought of the show and what we can talk about next time. If you have any questions, put them there. We'll compile a list and create the banners so you can see them on the live. And, you know, we'll try to give you guys as much value as we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these are a lot of fun. I like doing these. And we do have, for those of you that did jump in on the Shark Alliance deal, or any of you that jump in today, we do have our Shark Alliance weekly call that's going to happen Monday, so at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So you can be on that as well. So I will be on that for sure. And then Nick, I'll see you in San Diego.
Yeah, I'll see you in San Diego.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
Okay, everybody.